illustrations on e-learning, how to turn your e-learning designs into cool graphic novel style comics there. But before we get started, let me bring in, remind you of a few things that we're doing, which are going to be great for you. It's something you would like to consider going forward. As you know, if you haven't yet, we are still going wild. We have the Wild Weekend in Learning and Development Conference coming up August 9th. So we're actually just a month away. Great time to be involved. This awesome lady is coming in, Mara Roldan. She is all over the circuit at ATDIs, at eLearning Guild. She does great presentations on how to get a little techie and program a voice user interface such as Google Home, or even if you consider Alexa, that type of technology for learning and development purposes, which that'll be a great day once in a day, right? Where we can be like, hey, Alexa, what's my learning objective? So some things to discuss, to consider there, and that's happening August 9th, as I said. You can register at this point. If you're a member, you get great discounts. And, you know, anyone else, share it in your company if you would. And we appreciate any support that you can give us on that. We also like to thank ALAN.com, who is our platinum sponsor. And ALAN.com is a training company that provides you with training and services and consulting services that are available for you to hire. Now, let me go ahead and stop the share here. We got some also great events. Make sure you also go to ATDCFL.org always and check out your website, or check out our website. We have, when you go to the website and you go to members only, you'll get your members only page. And congratulations to Ayana Beckford for being our Member of the Month profile. If you want to be profiled here as a Member of the Month, make sure that your profile, your membership profile, has your picture on it. That's pretty much the requirement that we have. And then make sure you go back here at the end of this webinar. We will add Linda's webinar to our collection of webinars that we have with all the different speakers, including myself, that we've done before. Okay, so that's the housekeeping. Those are the rules of the house. And let me bring us back here to, good. Bring us back here to the webinar then. So now we have any other, let me check one last check for any other folks to come in. There we go. Curtis, welcome. Everybody, welcome. And actually, there is a way to use the phone. We can provide that if needed. So good point there. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for bringing that up. So it is my pleasure, guys, to introduce Linda Lorenzetti. She is an eLearning hero. She's very involved in the e-learning community. She's done some awesome projects out there. And today she is here to share with us her awesome wizardry on how to, you like that, right? So, yeah, so her awesome wizardry on how to make some e-learning content really special and very engaging for users. Linda, it is my pleasure to introduce you guys. This is Linda Lorenzetti.
Thank you, Alex. I'm just going to share the screen here so we can get started.
And I'm getting my head out of the way.
That's always good. Oops. Okay, so I've done a bunch of different cartoon kind of courses over the years. These are a few that I did for the e-learning challenges. Some of them I've done drawings, some of them I've done like the photo change to the cartoon, and I'm gonna show you some of that later on. Two big sources of inspiration. I don't know if you've seen this, but if you haven't, you should look at it. The Connect with the Haji Kamal is really good. The Broken Coworker as well. They both won awards. And what I like about them is the way that they integrate both the static pictures and the videos as well. I just find it really engaging. So these were my sources of inspiration when I did an e-learning course for the Guru Awards about, I guess, 5 years ago now. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I learned and tips and tricks and how you can do this for your own courses. So there's all different kinds of ways to do comic effects for photos. If you've got apps on your phone, there's a lot of different programs that you can use. There's a few online that I've seen that are either free or cheap, where you can upload your photos and you can change your picture into different artistic effects. Also Photoshop, which I've used a lot, but I know not everybody has the budget for that. So what we're going to start with is PowerPoint. So if you're doing a photo that you're converting to a comic in PowerPoint, something that you should look for is it's always good if you have an image that has a white background or has a transparent background. That said, you can try with different images and see how it turns out. I think the plainer it is, then the less contrast it has with competing things. You know, you want to pay attention to the characters more than you do the background. So to start doing this, the first thing that you have to do is to sharpen the image. So sharpening the image defines the edges of an image. It darkens the dark pixels and it lightens the lighter pixels. It gives you a really crisp edge, which gives better contrast. And contrast is what you need a lot of times when you're doing a cartoon effect. So if you click on the image and then you go to your Format tab, and then you can choose the corrections. And the first row here, sharpen 50%. You choose that. And then if you notice the previous one, I don't know how well you can see this from my screen, but the difference is quite a bit just between the unsharpened and the sharpened version. Next, you want to increase the sharpening, but it only gives you the option under the corrections of going up to the 50%. And once it does it one time, it doesn't do it again. So a way to get around this is if you cut the sharpened image, so you can either cut it, and then I usually do shortcuts, so I'll just do Control X. And then you want to paste it back in. So if you right click on the screen and you select the second option, you get her back in, and then you can go back again and sharpen it by 50% again. So you just do this 4 times total so that you have it up to 200%.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll let you do that on your own. And then the next thing is there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can do a black and white image or you can do a color. So I'll do the black and white first. So what you do is once you've got, this is the image that's been sharpened 4 times, and you go back into Format, and this time you go into the Color tab. And then you've got the option for black and white. You've got 25, you've got 50, and you've even got 75, which will be really dark. Just choose one of these. It depends for each picture which one you go with. It's best just to play around with it yourself, because depending on how high the resolution is on the photo, or like the skin tone of the person, different people will have different percentages of the black and white. So You can see this is the image sharpened 4 times. That's the black and white 25%, and that's the black and white 50%. But if you want to do color, you would use the artistic effect for the color result. So this is the 4 times sharpened image. If you click on it and then you go into the artistic effects, and the second last one is photocopy. So if you press photocopy, you get this, and you get the sliders that you can play around with. I think the detail looks better when it's lower because it makes you look more wrinkly in that if you have it up higher. So you just play around with the sliders on that until you get a look that you like. So you can either stay just with the sharpened image, which I think looks pretty good, or you can do it with the photocopy effect, which is just a little bit lighter, a little bit more transparent. So you might be thinking, when would I use the black and white, because the color is more eye-catching. So you might want to do this kind of thing where you have like the main person who's speaking in the color, and then just have the other people who are listening in the black and white. Or you could do something like put the background in black and white and then have the person stand out in the color. So that's how you can do your own in PowerPoint, which most people luckily have. Going on to the next thing. So one of the things that I did in my Guru presentation was I put a lot of videos in it where people would give their thoughts, and I also had like certain demonstrations of different things that people could use, like how to place a person who was drunk in bed so that they would be all right, that kind of thing. So there's different, there's a whole bunch of different video programs out there. Some are expensive, some are free. If you're lucky enough to have After Effects or Premiere Pro, then that's great. Then, or there's also video editing apps that you can use now. I had Photoshop, and I don't know how many of you have Photoshop, but I know one of my friends that does eLearning, he was able to talk his employer into getting Photoshop, which was great. But then last time I asked him, you know, how are you doing with it? He said, oh, I'm too busy to learn it. So I'll just show you one quick thing with Photoshop, because if you've got Photoshop, you might not know that you can edit videos in it, and you can do this cartoon effect without having to get After Effects or Premiere Pro or anything like that. So I'll just, I'll stop the share here for a minute, and I'll move over to Photoshop. Okay, hopefully you should be able to see my screen now. So this is one of the little videos that was in it. The course, I should have told you, the course content is on teens who are drinking, and you hear so many things with what's a good thing to do, to have coffee, to sober up, to go outside, all these kind of things. And I had kids at the time that were teens that I thought it would be a good thing to make a kind of course with a cartoon look and feel to it, because it would appeal more for younger people, and maybe they would actually watch it and get something out of it. I'm surprised, because my one son, there's something that's said in it that I didn't know about, because there's certain medications you should and shouldn't take for a hangover that I included in that. And like, even to this day, he says, no, I can't have that because I was drinking. So the more that you can engage them, hopefully the more that they'll remember when they need to. So for this video, I've opened this up in the the motion view of Photoshop. Now, almost any filter that you can run on a picture, you can also run on a video clip here. So I've got one effect. You can buy actions, or you can just record yourself doing a couple of different things together, and then it'll run the filters so that you're not doing it every time that you have an image or a film bit that you want to do. So I've already recorded this, and I just wanted to show you this. So if I put this on now, and it changes it to a kind of a cartoon, that looks great. But what happens is when you play it, it's only the first frame that it's affecting. It's not doing the whole thing. So I'll just go back to the beginning. So how you can get around this is if you go up to filter and you convert for smart filters, you can do it there. Or you can also click on the layer where that film is and right click on it, and then convert to a smart object. And what a smart object does is it will treat the whole video as one thing instead of as individual frames. So now if I play this and I put that on, and now if I play it, the whole thing is affected, not just the one. So if you've got that, that's one way that you can get the cartoon effect with the video if you have Photoshop. So I'll just stop this share for a minute. And I don't know what type of e-learning programs you have, but I've got 360 for this one. I would assume a lot would be similar in other programs as well. So for this e-learning that I made up, I just wanted to show you a few things. It's one of the most important things when you're doing this is to line everything up. I don't have the lines set up for this. I've got it set up for another screen later on. But using the drawing guides, that was like a lifesaver. For these ones where there's no background on the image, I just made a box, and then I just cropped the person and then had them fit in. And then for this one, this was a whole image. And then I just put like the black outline around it so that it would match the rest of the other boxes. All of these are grouped together, and they're the same image as that. So this was one image that I got from iStock, and I think there were 3 or 4 different images of the same person, and I just used those throughout the course. So it's just a short little sample. It's not a real long course. So another thing that I did was I should show you the sample. I use arrows to guide you through the course, because I found when you have something like this, if you're not using arrows and just revealing one pane at a time, if you get something like this, the reader doesn't know, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? They're not sure which way to go. And the arrows were a good way of getting the person to follow the storyline where you wanted them to go. And another reason for that too is when you have like video on a slide, if you don't have them going revealing one at a time, if you preview this, they're all talking on top of each other, which doesn't work very well. So the first thing that I did was I got all of my images together. I figured out how I wanted to lay it out, and made them the right size so that they would all line up together, and put a black outline around them. And then once I had everything the way that I wanted it, everything was lined up the way I wanted, I would just put the first image on the main part of the slide, and then I would I would copy the second image to another layer, the third image, and go through like that. And then I should show you what this looks like when it's done. Okay, so then it gives you the choice. It gives you different things that you've probably heard of before, and then it asks you what you think is the best option. So then based on which answer you give, it will give you the different outcome. So for this one, that's not the right outcome. And then you get the feedback on it before you continue. So how I built this was, so I've got, for each layer, I've got the separate panel. And then you've got to make sure that you don't hide layers, other slide layers, or objects on the base layer. And then I've got, for each choice here, I've got them showing a different layer for the outcomes. So this one points to the coffee, this one points to the air, and this one points to the shower, which are all different outcomes based on what they pick. And there's also scoring in this course, so that if they pick something that's right, they get a higher positive course or positive number result. Or if they do something that's not the best choice, then they might lose points. And then I've got all of the results up on top. So one of the things too is, you might have noticed when I click through the arrows, as soon as I click the arrow, it disappears. So if you insert the arrow key, how I did that was I changed this, I changed the fill, and I changed the outline on it. And then if you go into states, I wanted it to have a disappearing state. Okay, so what I did was I added a new state, which was a selected state. And to this, I got rid of the fill, and I got rid of the outline. Sounds like someone's moving. And then I would add a trigger to this that, so once they finish the first panel, that this would jump to layer 2, and so on. So once you click on that, it's selected and it disappears. And then that way you don't have all the clutter of different arrows all over the place, and you can't go backwards to previous panels once you've progressed.
Hey, Linda.
Yeah.
So how big was this? How big was the file when you got done with it?
Good question.
That's my job. I ask the hard questions.
Yeah. So there you go, right there. 199,091. yeah, there was a lot of video in it. It's quite long too. So there's oh, that's opening in 3, but there's quite a bit to it. So can you see this, or can you, since we're in storyline 3, can you see this anymore, or can you not see it? Here, I'll just, where am I? Okay, so I'll just give you like a quick go through. So I've got all kinds of panels, all kinds of feedback and stuff on it, all kinds of like videos. So yeah, it was quite a big build. It took me a lot of time to do that. Go back to, so I'll show you one of the things. This was something that I did. It was based on Tom Kuhlman did a similar kind of interaction that I used for this one, back to this one again. So this is what it looks like. Do you ever notice when you want it to hurry up, it goes really slow? Okay, so for this one, it's got the same thing, the disappearing arrow thing. And so it asks you a question, and then you choose which answer you want. And then you do a drag and drop, and you drop it, and then it goes full size. So I'll show you how I did that. So it's built like this. So you've got the first panel, and then you put together 3 choices, and then you've got your target area. And then I converted this to a drag and drop. So now it says remove, but you would make that shape, and then you would click the convert to freeform drag and drop.
I think that actually work if you remove it and put it back on, right? Or would it mess you up with the layers?
It might mess me up with the layers. So
yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah, I know. That's my jam.
It would work.
I use that all the time. That's my jam.
Yeah. So so anyways, what I've got is I've got a layer for each of the choices. So like for choice number 1, you would have one kind of feedback. For choice number 2, you'd have something else. And for choice number 3, you'd have something different as well. And then what you would do is for the drag and drop, for each one of these, for the dragged items, you've got choice 1, choice 2, and choice 3. And then you've got the drop zone. So it's all going in the same place. And then if I can just get back here. Okay, so then you have to do a trigger that will show the layer, choice 1 in this case, when an object is dropped on choice 1. So you want this object, when this is dropped on the drop zone, you're going to see choice 1. And one of these is done for each one of the triggers. So as soon as you drag one of the draggable items and then you drop it into this area here, it'll jump to the choice, and then it'll look like it's changing from a small item to a large, when really it's smoke and mirrors. So if you look at the initial one, we've got the same thing. we've got the first image on the main slide, and then we've got 4 choices in this case that they can choose. And then based on which one they choose, oh, this has gone off a little bit, but they get this feedback based on what their answer is, whatever they choose, and drag and drop into this drop zone. So I'm going through this faster than I expected. So just a couple of things, like the drawing guides. I don't know how many of you use them, but like for this course, it was a real lifesaver. And especially since this one was built back, I think it was, I did this in Storyline 2. And at that time, they only had, when you opened the drawing guides, you'd only get 2 guides. And so now when you open it, you get 4 initially. Yeah. So if you want to get your drawing guides, just right click, go to Grid and Guides, and then display drawing guides on the screen. Now there's a few ways of being able to do a new guideline. Some you can if there's a ruler. Some of these I haven't really done a lot, but you can pull something from a ruler, like you can pull a horizontal line from a ruler, or you can pull from the side ruler for a vertical line. If you put your arrow key somewhere and you right click, you can either add a new horizontal or a new vertical guideline on the spot where you clicked. You can also go hover over one of the existing keys and then press the control key, and you can pull down from there. So also you can just hover over and you can move one that's already there. How it used to be is if you wanted to clean up your desk, if you had too many of them, you would have to drop one on an existing one to have it disappear. Now you can just hover over it and you can press your delete key and it disappears.
Hey, Linda, and so when you set this up though, your Slide Master has all the stuff. Do you build everything on the Slide Master already? Have different layouts set up for the panels?
No.
No? Okay.
Sometimes I do. I mean, some things are definitely worth doing the Slide Masters on because it'll save you a lot of time.
Right.
For that one, depending on like if I had video in there or how many videos in each one, or like there were different size constraints that you had to think about. So, and I didn't have all the panels the exact same. So, yeah.
That was the coolest thing ever because we had some connection issues, and you sounded like you were doing dubstep. So that was great. That was great. Hey guys, so I want to ask everybody in the audience, go ahead and get in the chat. Ask any questions you would like to ask Linda. Any tips, any questions you have, please go ahead and participate and engage on this so we can, she can answer your questions. That's probably a good time that you have one-on-one with her to ask any type of questions that she has on build or ideas. In the meantime, I have a couple of other questions there, Linda.
Okay.
So, so how many times, how many times have you found this to take on? In other words, people wanting to have this on a project?
It depends on who the client is. I do a lot of stuff at work with healthcare and health and safety. So it depends on how open they are to doing something that's more creative.
Okay.
So yeah, I've done a few things, but I do a lot more like on my own or with challenges and that because it's what I want to do. So
cool. So we have a question from Sarah. It says, what types of training materials do you find most helpful to make into comics?
What types of training materials?
Yeah.
Well, you can, if you can get somebody that like appealing to younger people, or if you think that the something about the subject matter would just be more interesting as a cartoon kind of thing. Um, Sometimes for some courses where you have um, like an audience who English might not be the first language, it tends to simplify things because you use um, more straightforward language in that than like something with a lot of text on it. So that might be like a good application there. The most important thing is your client open to it?
Okay. So Sarah, let us know if that answered your question. Throw us a thumbs up or something. But Elizabeth was saying that she missed how to move the guides precisely in small increments.
I'm sorry, how to do what?
How to move the guides precisely in
Okay.
small increments.
Okay, I think it's a little better now. Just let me get back to the right screen here.
I thought there was a control key, right? Or is that just for shapes?
No, so um, I think it's better in 360 than it was with some of the earlier versions of Storyline, because it seems to go pretty slowly. But
Okay.
if you're having problems, if something's not lining up, if it's jumping too much one way or another, or if you've got like a Storyline 2 or 3 instead of 360, if you hold down your Alt key, it goes more precisely, and you can line things up much easier with that.
Okay, so here's a question that Sis was asking. How time consuming is it to make cartoons and comics for e-learning?
You were just dubstepping there a little bit.
How time consuming? Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I did most of mine on Photoshop, so all the steps that were needed, I recorded. And so I would just pull in a bunch of photos and then just hit, run the actions on all of them. So then I had them all done like very quickly.
Yeah, I think a cool one to show. I don't know, did you show this already or not? But the round tripping.
The round tripping?
Yeah, between images in Storyline 360 to Photoshop. So if you use the media library, you can open Photoshop and edit the image directly into it.
Okay. See, you got one that I don't have because we've just gone from Photoshop 3 to 360 recently, so I haven't done all
Oh,
the.
the Storyline 3. Okay, good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a tip for you guys. So like, I think are you on 360 right now?
Yeah.
Oops. So if you just bring any image in, like bring any image that you get from the media library or something that's not converted to a comic, I guess.
Okay.
This will be a cool one because I used it just recently. When I saw the update, I was like, okay, now when I first saw it, I was like, okay, when am I ever going to use this, right? And then I decided to do a project like you have done here, where we had the comic stuff, and I was like, okay, maybe this will work. So I'll tell you what, why don't you go to the content library and just bring a simple image.
Sorry, you're breaking up.
Yeah, it could be. I'm dubstepping.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best things of 360 is the content library.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
So now here, if you right click this and go show in media library, so it'll be down below export. There you go. You go there, show that, and now click on edit, the edit icon next to the replace at the bottom. You see that edit icon there? Yeah.
Okay, and
So
then
now
it takes you.
You select your Photoshop.
Okay, cool. See, you just taught me something today.
Oh yeah, no, I thought you knew because we were talking about it before we did the webinar. So sorry about that. I just thought when I saw this, I was like, man, this is something I really want to do. So it opens up your Photoshop, right?
Yeah. Oh, you can't
So
see
what
it,
will
I
happen
guess.
is it will open this image on Photoshop. Yeah. Then you apply the filter.
Yeah, and then
So
if
now,
I,
yeah, you apply a filter to it. And then the cool thing about it is that when you apply the filter and so once you apply the filter, okay, and now go close that, tab in Photoshop. So when you go close it, it's going to ask you, like, if you want to save it, you say yes. Because it's not going to overwrite the image because it's on the temp folder of Storyline. So now when you go back to Storyline,
okay.
that image has been edited.
Okay, hold on.
I hope it worked.
It did. I'm just having to switch back to
Oh, okay.
story.
And guys, if you're wondering, she couldn't really share her monitor because she's work and stuff like that, so she had to shift between. But here's the effect as you see it applied. So
Yeah, that's very cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's the time saver right there.
I know, yeah, that's what I thought. In this, it will be kind of interesting to kind of think about it. But that's why I was going with, in terms of workflow, that you will go with master layouts, right? So and I learned this just because of that project that I did, working things around.
Yeah.
And then that happens.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Linda, let me ask you some other things here on this. The video thing is pretty cool that you brought up, that video effect. So do you find that, doing the video effect and versus everything else, it works out better? Does it take more time or not?
No, because like if you're using the same effect on your photos as you're using on your video, you've only got like one action, so that's a big time saver right there.
Okay. Okay.
And
Cool.
then it gets the same kind of look. So
Okay. Guys,
win-win.
I want to ask the audience again, do you guys have any more questions? Any more opportunities here to get your questions answered? Please go ahead and drop in, or any comments or any of the tips that you guys might have. Be sure to choose the chat, put them in the chat, and we'll be glad to answer those.
Just in case anyone's interested, like I've got the samples that I've shown on my blog, or if anybody
Yep.
wants to follow me on Twitter if they're into that, there's that as well.
Yep. That is, yeah, I have you and Fetty Wap. Yep. On Twitter.
Okay.
No, it's just joking. So yeah, pretty cool blog she has, guys. You can go check it out. She has all the samples there, and some good articles she has on the stuff she puts out for e-learning challenges.
Well, I haven't really done much on the blog portion of it for the last little while, but you'll see like examples of.
Yeah, well, now I'm putting pressure on you, so you get back to blogging.
Yeah. You just want more competition with the e-learning challenges.
So Cecil says nice, Sarah says awesome, and Jimmy tells us that he loves the concept. Will the steps or PowerPoint deck be shared? Pretty sure you'll be able to share with us a PDF or what you've done.
Yeah, I can do PDF, or I can send you the PowerPoint. Because
okay, well, if you want to send the deck, that's great as well.
Yeah.
I do have a post on my blog, guys, of this type of thing on PowerPoint as well. So if the Linda stuff doesn't do, you can always check mine. And let's see. Any more questions that you guys want to ask? Awesome. Yeah, I'm saying everything's cool. Linda, any last thoughts you want to share with folks?
No, just, if you can, what's a good thing is you were asking about like who would do this. There's been some things where I've tried to bounce the idea off somebody, and I just find that some people are more, they can envision things better than other people can. The other people, you have to show them. So if there's something that you think would be a really good application for this, I would say think of the best way that you would do this. Like if you can think of part of the project in a cartoon-like form, and then just do a couple of slides to show it, to sell your idea. Then once people can see it, they might be more inclined to let you run with it. So that's my thoughts.
Cool. I will say, guys, one main thing is, aside from all this, so what I experienced in the past at work, you know that when I'm not doing all this stuff, I work for Dell Technologies and I deliver courses, make courses. So the one that I did, my approach was to bring in, yes, I brought in the graphic style novel stuff, but I also gave choices to the learner, to the user, right? So make sure that you're not, my concern with that is that I didn't want to impose whatever I wanted to do as a designer on some people. So some people go for this and eat it up. Some people will be like, what is this?
But it's, you don't know until you ask, right? So,
right. So I did, just to let you know, what I did is it's more work, but what I did is when I developed the course, I gave people choices up front. So
right.
Go check out the novel stuff, go check out the comic style stuff,
right.
But also go read this PDF or whatever the case, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, it's a tough one. And even if you pilot test it, like you're saying, there might be still an issue because you can't control who's joining the organization a month later, right?
Yeah, but I mean, as long as you have it in good taste, and I don't think that. Right. I think it's just conservative companies that would be against it, but you have to do what you can do with what you have, right?
It's true. Hey, so guys, any more questions? We got some great comments here. Remember, I put out a link so you can do the survey. I'll put it out here again. It's only 2 questions, and there's an opportunity for you to leave some comments. I did notice we have some issue with technology in terms of bandwidth, and that's something we're going to look at and sort of think about a different platform coming up, because obviously Zoom is not working that well for us. But that's always been an issue anywhere else. So what I'll do is I'd like to thank Linda. Obviously, Linda, you've done an amazing job here today. Thank you for giving us your time and sharing the information. For you guys, our members, thank you for being part of this. Amazing attendance, and we'll give you a follow-up email, which will have the goods that Linda is going to share. And make sure that you go into your member site. So our member site, our website, when you go and log in, you will see there is the member site. It's not only viewable for members, and it has the digital encounters button there. This webinar will be loaded up there. So, and the resources as well, the PDF or PowerPoint as we get it from Linda. But Linda, thank you so much. You've been amazing. Thanks. Guys, any last wishes for Linda? Drop them in the chat. Let her know how she did. And thank you, everyone. If no other comments, I'll bid you all farewell and have an awesome day and rest of the week. Bye-bye, everyone. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.